For this lesson, you're going to be charting the text on a passage from Frederick Douglass's narrative called My Bondage and Freedom, which was published in 1855. In this lesson, we're not just looking at what the author says, but how the author uses language and style to accomplish his purpose. At this point, you should have already watched the biography of Frederick Douglass, and if you need to know more information in order to understand the context of this passage, you can look at 519 on the textbook. In this excerpt from Douglass's second autobiography, he shows how slavery victimizes everyone involved, including the slaveholders. The passage describes how his master's wife quits her efforts to teach Frederick Douglass to read. And he's so desperate to continue to read that he trades biscuits for lessons from his white playmates. Influenced by his ideas in reading, Douglass becomes consumed for his yearning for freedom, and he grows to hate slavery even more, which made him enemies of him and his mistress, who he thinks might otherwise have been his friend. So as we go through this text, it's important to set our purpose for reading, which is stated right here. It's beneficial to ask both the what is Frederick Douglass saying and how is he using language to effectively exemplify his purpose, which is that slavery victimizes both the slaves and the slaveholders, who clearly benefit from the system of slavery. We're going to be focusing on textual details by identifying the tone and diction, which means specific word choice, Douglass uses to analyze the impact and effect of these choices on the reader. Following this analysis, you should be able to identify specific features of the text and how they contribute to Douglass's representation of what it means to be a slave. We are going to accomplish this complex task right here by doing a reading strategy called charting the text. When you chart the text, on one half of the chart, you write a summary. What is Douglass saying? And on the other hand, you analyze what is Douglass doing? How is he using language in interesting ways to accomplish his meaning? To help you organize your analysis, I've included questions, so you should be answering questions directly on this chart. If you look at page 2 of this document, you'll see over here, this is what you're writing about when you're analyzing what is the author saying. You're writing a summary of each section, answering questions like, what is this section about? What is the content? What did I learn from this section? What information is being presented? At this point in your reading, if you don't understand an important word, phrase, place, historical event, or allusion, you need to look it up, and you should write this information on your chart. The middle category here, you don't need to write here, but this is just indicating what paragraph numbers you're analyzing. For example, here is paragraph 1. You write your say and your do. The third column in the chart is what is the author doing in the text. This is where you are evaluating important decisions made by the author regarding his word choice, point of view, style, and other literary elements. Look at these questions here to guide this doing section of your analysis. How can I describe the tone? What type of words are important? Is the language general or specific? Is the language formal, informal? Does the text employ figurative language like similes, metaphors, imagery? Are there other words with strong connotations? Connotations means the feeling that the word conveys. And how does the author effectively impact his audience with his rhetorical choices? Rhetoric is the public use of language for persuasive purposes. So keep in mind that Frederick Douglass was publishing his autobiographies for a public purpose to show the horrors and realities of slavery.